Before the video begins, I'd like to talk about a series called Dark Blood. Written and illustrated by my friend Jamal, the series is one of the only mangas created in the United States and follows the story of a boy named Knight. Knight is targeted by a dangerous group of people who are after their prisoner known as a Blood Aim. After associating himself with this Blood Aim, Knight finds himself wound up in this conflict and fuses with him to create what is known as a Dark Blood. Knight defends himself against the demon race that have the power to bring about the end of the world or to save it. Dark Blood is a shonen-styled, tightly written, well-paced manga that is tough to put down once you begin. There are currently 2 volumes for sale right now, which you can find a link for in the description below, with a 3rd volume available for pre-order and being worked on as we speak. Suffice it to say, please give it a look and check out Jamal's manga. First of all, let me just say, World Trigger is amazing. Captivating battle sequences, lovable characters, and a healthy sense of humour mixed with mystery, shockingly good pacing, and a tight structure to top it all off. That is the essence of World Trigger in one sentence. It lulls you in with this boy riding his pet capybara, and then shows you these strange creatures called neighbours, who are invading and attacking people from strange portals to another world. I almost don't want to tell you any more than that, even though the first episode sets up tons more, because it's a true testament to the series' pacing. Across 18 volumes and 73 episodes, World Trigger isn't only fascinating, but keeps its audience fascinated in its universe. Despite its main downside being a pretty bland design, it truly is an embodiment of the expression, "looks can be deceiving." The mystery of the world behind the portals and the exploration of Trion, the people's source of power, is truly brilliant. Trion is something which lies within everybody, but can be harnessed and created into triggers, a special power which is unique to the individual. With a team like Border, an institution which holds back these neighbours, we begin to see some really breathtakingly intricate large-scale fights, the likes of which hold the kind of exhilaration that made the palace invasion from Hunter x Hunter work so well. Over the course of its tenure, it slowly managed to climb the Shonen Jump rankings at an impressive pace, almost cementing its status as the next big series. Things were beginning to spice up a lot in terms of story progression, with big wheels finally beginning to turn. And then, it disappeared. It's been almost 2 years since the manga has ceased publication, and we've heard close to nothing about it. For reference, the big hiatus mangas, Hunter x Hunter and Berserk, have their biggest hiatuses being 1 year and 10 months and 1 year and 4 months respectively. World Trigger dwarfs both of these series with a hiatus that's 2 years and counting. With a small trickling of information working its way to loyal fans, let's follow the breadcrumbs and find out what happened to World Trigger. Weekly Shonen Jump is a manga magazine which publishes different chapters every week. These chapters are often given with a single comment from the author. This comment can range from anything to a personal update, to a witty joke, or a funny tidbit of information on the series itself. But this very element would thankfully give us our first glimpse into what was going on behind the scenes of World Trigger and its sudden disappearance. If we take a look at Ashihara's comments towards the end of the regular chapter releases, we can see that the series did enter some breaks every now and then. These breaks were due to the curse of the mangaka lifestyle itself: health issues. For one break in publication, it was revealed that Ashihara had been afflicted with a sudden illness and needed to recover. With such a note being not altogether uncommon for authors, people thought nothing of it, and that's fair enough. However, shortly after one particular week off, it was revealed that Ashihara was being treated for damaged nerve roots within his neck, and that this was unfortunately a result of cervical spondylosis. Cervical spondylosis is a degenerative condition that affects the very top of the spinal cord due to wear and tear. Being a kind of arthritis, cervical spondylosis is a condition which causes increasing stiffness and pain, especially with movement to the afflicted area. With the straining life of a mangaka and the unnatural posture of being sat at the desk whilst constantly drawing, we can begin to see why Ashihara has not returned to the series for 2 years, despite his best efforts to recover. To add to this, it should be said that cervical spondylosis is a condition which usually affects people at a much older age. 85% of people over the age of 60 suffer with cervical spondylosis, and research, as expected, suggests that there is a correlation between a person's age and the likelihood of developing it. With something like cervical spondylosis being an issue with people around the age of 60, it is a shocking revelation that Ashihara suffers from it, considering that he is only 36 years old. Like any degenerative condition, things obviously differ from person to person, and so we can only assume the extent to which it affects him in his work. But conversely, because we can't confirm how much it affects him, we can also say that even if he was to return, who knows how likely he would stay with such an unfortunate ailment that can only progressively worsen with time. Whilst reading the manga, it was impressive that there was only ever 1 week breaks to begin with. Ashihara said in the World Trigger BBF, or Border Briefing file, that he used to sleep 3 to 4 hours a day, pulling all-nighters before the deadline and sleeping 8 hours once the manuscript was done. And that after he hurt his neck, he started sleeping 8 hours a day. Even nowadays, I sometimes pull all-nighters. For reference, adults need around 7 to 9 hours of sleep, but 6 to 10 hours can be acceptable. Not only does Ashihara barely ever reach the needed hours of sleep, but he consistently goes underneath the appropriate amount that he can get away with, only ever meeting this amount once every week when the manuscript is finished. I'm not blaming him either, this is mostly on Shonen Jump and its ridiculous releases. But we can really pull back the mist and see why health conditions and physical degradation become such an issue for Jump authors. The level of thought and attention to detail that goes into not just Ashihara's fantastic writing style, but for most of manga out there is really impressive, and it is such a shame that not only did Ashihara fall under the strain of the lifestyle, but that it has seemingly stopped him altogether. Sometimes the struggle has made Ashihara contemplate quitting the series entirely. Chapter 85 is what I had thought up as the last chapter of the series when I hurt my body and couldn't move at all. So even now, when I read it, I am deeply moved. After the series entered its current and longest hiatus on November 21st, 2016, Volume 18 would release a while later, on March 3rd, 2017. In this volume, Ashihara would transmit his first communication to his fans since temporarily leaving serialization. In the sleeve for the volume, Ashihara said that he had lost 8 kilograms of weight, but that he was alive and safe. Unfortunately, this meant nothing for the continuation of the series and only offered an obscure glimpse into Ashihara's efforts to possibly minimize the effects of his condition. Maybe. Most doctors do simply recommend weight loss to help for most conditions, so whilst not really confirming his current state, all this really tells us is that Ashihara is trying to improve his health. Though, with such a large amount of weight being lost, many fans would begin to fear for Ashihara, considering that even this large amount of weight loss didn't manage to bring him back. After a slight glimpse of World Trigger again, the series would vanish into the mist once more. Of course, our story simply doesn't end here. A healthy appetite for the series still thrives on fan communities such as the official subreddit and Twitter accounts dedicated to the series. Despite 2 years of close to nothing from World Trigger, there are still thousands following the current status of the series on a fairly regular basis. There are so many people waiting for a return or to hear something from Ashihara again, and this is not without reason. The ones who are providing the fan base with the fuel to continue following the series are, surprisingly, Shonen Jump themselves. Over the past year now, they have constantly promoted the series and fueled hopes of fans that there may be a future after all. From featuring the series and selling merchandise at Jump Festa a couple of months ago, to adding the entire series onto their digital reader app. Of all of the times that they could have done this, the manga was added to the reader app only last month. To add to this, only 20 days ago, Jump advertised the recent volume for the series again. That's right, Volume 18 from March the 3rd, 2017. A manga volume that was released a year and a half ago is being advertised in Shonen Jump, the magazine which infamously axed 2 titans with no stated reason at all. But even further than any of this, however, and a true sign of positivity for the series, is a recent illustration from Daisuke Ashihara himself. Yuma and Osamu, the series' 2 protagonists, are featured on the illustration and show us that for the first time, Ashihara can still draw. This was created for Shonen Jump's 50th anniversary celebration on August 1st, 2018, and among other countless artists giving their own artwork, it would seem that Ashihara is drawing, if only this has surfaced. Things for now are, as expected, shrouded in mystery and speculations, but amidst all of this uncertainty and lack of knowledge, one thing is certain. Nobody has given up on the series, be it Shonen Jump, the avid fans, or even Daisuke Ashihara himself. In the harsh industry of being a mangaka and avoiding sudden cancellations or potential health conditions, it would seem that things may not be as grim as they appear. Most of the time, what happened to's usually uncover health issues and that is that. But with Hoshino's D Gray Man being supported across different magazines, Togashi being allowed to write 10 chapters a year while still being published in a weekly magazine, and Ashihara being promoted after all of this time, we can only hope that Shonen Jump is finally beginning to loosen up in terms of upholding the insane work ethic that Japanese culture is reputable for, and that what happened to World Trigger may soon be a thing of the past. I want to give a big special thank you to all of my patrons, Brian, Jamal, Golok, Paul, Gustavo, Mishal, Roshan, and Tibor. Thank you guys so much, you mean the world to me. And now I want to thank you for watching the video. If you like, then be sure to subscribe for more, comment your opinion down below, follow me on Twitter to find out what's coming next, and I'll see you next time.